Welcome to the Dilemma Lab. What if two identical countries adopted exactly the same reservation policy, but 20 years later, one became more equal while the other became more divided? Both countries have the same population, resources, and democratic system. In both, there are two communities, the purples and the yellows. For generations, most purple families were denied good schools, respected professions, and positions of authority. Yellow families faced fewer such barriers. Over time, many yellow families gained better education, financial security, and influential connections. This does not mean every yellow person is rich or every purple person is poor. But as communities, they are not starting from the same place. Then, both countries introduced the same reservation policy. A fixed percentage of seats in educational institutions and government jobs is reserved for communities that have faced historical discrimination and disadvantage. Even with reservation for purples, yellow students are still allowed to compete for the remaining seats through open competition. If they have the required qualifications, they can also enter good colleges, government jobs, and positions of authority. Now, let us travel 20 years into the future. In the first country, reservation is treated as an entry point, not a complete solution. The government improves schools in disadvantaged areas, provides scholarships, and offers coaching for entrance exams. Students who enter through reservation receive financial aid and academic support. Discrimination is investigated, and the policy is regularly reviewed to see whether it is reaching the families most in need. The government also keeps the reserved share limited and evidence based so that yellow students with strong qualifications continue to have a fair chance in open category seats. No community is completely shut out from important educational or professional opportunities. Over time, more purple students enter universities and professional fields. Some become teachers, doctors, administrators, and judges. Their success changes not only their own lives, but also the expectations of younger children in their communities. The gap does not disappear immediately, but opportunity begins to spread beyond a small group of families. Now look at the second country. It introduces the same reservation percentage, but changes almost nothing else. A purple student may receive a reserved university seat, but still lack money for books, housing, or coaching. Another student from a better off purple family may understand the system, afford preparation, and benefit repeatedly. The policy exists, but the people facing the greatest hardship are often still unable to use it. At the same time, poor yellow students receive little help. Their families may have no wealth, connections, or access to good schools. Their disadvantage is not the same as the purple's historical discrimination, but it is still a serious barrier. Because the government does not provide broader support or explain the difference between these forms of disadvantage, frustration grows. Yellow students feel ignored. Purple students feel that their achievements are dismissed as unearned. Both communities begin blaming each other for opportunities that are too limited for everyone. Over time, the government keeps increasing reservation mainly to gain votes, without properly studying whether the policy is working or whether other forms of support are needed. In some institutions and government departments, the reserved share becomes so large that yellow students have almost no realistic chance of entering, even when they are highly qualified. After 20 years, the two countries have the same policy, but not the same outcome. In the first country, reservation is combined with better schools, scholarships, financial assistance, mentoring, and protection from discrimination. Support for poor students is also available across communities based on income and educational disadvantage. The government tracks who is benefiting and adjusts the policy when necessary. Families that have already achieved substantial educational and economic progress may receive less priority, while the poorest and least represented families receive more attention. In the second country, reservation is expected to solve historical inequality by itself. Schools remain weak, poor students receive little support, and no one checks whether the policy is reaching those who need it most. Political leaders continue expanding reservation for electoral support rather than fairness. As a result, some yellow students are effectively excluded from certain opportunities, while many poor purple students still remain unable to benefit because the deeper causes of disadvantage have not been addressed. So, did reservations succeed in one country and fail in the other? Historical discrimination can continue affecting a community long after discriminatory laws are removed. But present day poverty can affect individuals from any community. That is why a fair system cannot rely on only one measure. It must consider historical discrimination, current economic hardship, educational disadvantage, and social representation. It must also ensure that reservation does not become so extensive that qualified students from another community have no meaningful opportunity to compete. The policy should be based on evidence, not only on political pressure. It must also use transparent rules, reliable data, and regular review. The real question is not whether reservation is simply good or bad. It is this: how can a society correct old injustice without creating new injustice? Two countries, the same reservation policy, two completely different outcomes. Because a policy created for justice can succeed only when the system around it ensures that opportunity reaches those harmed by history, those struggling with poverty, and the generations that come after them.